Right now I have the opportunity to chat with Doug Willems, who is the CEO and founder of Delta Strike International, and I thank you very much for joining me, Doug.
No problems.
I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about your background and what led you to work in the development of laser tag.
Sure. Originally I was an electronics engineer and then moved into owning my own audio-visual company, sold that and got involved in laser tag by buying a centre in Christchurch, New Zealand, and when I bought the centre, the intention was that I was going to develop my own laser tag product, because the product I actually that came with the business, the laser tag business, was very old. It was 18 years old at the time I bought the business, and at that point when I bought the business, I looked around for another engineer, someone younger and cleverer than me, and so contracted this person, David Lowe. Very quickly recognised his capabilities, and from that point offered him a shareholding in the company.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the origin story of your company and the very beginnings?
Well, as I mentioned, the equipment was very old. We actually did look around for other products to see what was available, and felt that at the time the technology on most other products was quite basic. David pretty much come straight out of university, knew that we could do things quite differently. We thought we'd be able to do something better for the customers.
What were some of the things that inspired or influenced the development of Delta Strike?
Gaming. So both of us enjoyed computer games, particularly the first shooter style games, very much similar to, I suppose, the computer version of laser tag. And we felt that a lot of the features that you get in computer games could be brought into the laser tag game itself, which we then did. So things like many multiple weapons, shield, and the game concepts themselves could be brought into the laser tag game.
What can you share about your company's timeline, your significant events, and innovations?
The business was bought in 2001. We felt we would be able to produce a product within about 2 or 3 years. It actually took us 6 years before we sold our first product, and that was in New Zealand, with the intention of going international. So the timeline that we hoped would happen, we pretty much tripled, and the cost that it took to actually make that product once it was ready for selling was also 3 to 4 times the budget we expected. So yeah, it was pretty tough times in those days, and then it took another 3 or 4 years to really make an impact, mainly because as a new player to the industry, even though our product was very good for the time, people were hesitant to actually buy a new product because we hadn't proven ourselves. And of course there's the question around ongoing support in a new location. So yeah, so once we started selling into America, getting a bit, and Europe, getting a bit of momentum, then it was just a slow and gradual rise in sales for the next 5 years from that point.
Who were some of the key players involved with the development of Delta Strike?
Not that many, really. I mean, basically, Dave and I are still the sole owners of the company. Of course, there is one very major key player, Shane Zimmerman. Once we brought him on board, he was already very much involved in the laser tag industry. So we brought Shane on board, and he's made significant contributions towards the company in terms of sales. I would say Shane would be the biggest key influence on our growth.
Now, what was the process for creating your original hardware and software?
Well, the process in those days was probably, for us, quite new. How it is now is quite different. In those days, I owned my own laser tag centre, so the process was very much around, as an owner, I know what it's like to operate and run a business. What were the main things that I wanted to have our system do, and that was really they pretty much just came down to money. What could we create and produce in a laser tag product which would bring in as much money as we possibly could for the business, and then felt that if we could do it for ourselves, then hopefully other laser tag operators felt the same way, and I felt it was a good mentality. Nowadays we we do a lot more research. We go out, done road tours, going around America and Europe, asking questions of existing customers as well as non-Delta customers, asking them what was most important. We've gone to the players, and of course we've gone back to our salespeople, asking them for their feedback on what they believed was the most important features the product should be providing their customers. And that's what we've done with our latest product, the Genesis.
I had the opportunity to check out the Genesis earlier, and
Yes.
I enjoyed that, and wonder if you could tell me some of the new features that you're developing with that.
Right, yes, so we've taken pretty much most of the good features from our last product, the Evolution and Revolution, and retained those, and then using that feedback we got from our surveys, we then incorporated a whole host of other new features, which includes things like a very large format full colour LCD screen, nice and bright touch screen. We've also got a selfie camera on the front of the just above the LCD screen, which allows players to take a photo of themselves prior to going to a game. That means that during the game, that person's photo then is displayed on the person they just tagged, which we feel works very well in terms of socialising the game itself. Other innovations or new innovations are an induction charging system, which allows the phaser pack to be charged up just by simply putting it on the hanger, the vest hanger, which means that the phaser packs don't go down due to low battery during a game or during the day. It also means that traditionally you plug it in with a curly cable, that plug and that curly cable don't end up being damaged every time the pack is pulled off the rack. We have self-diagnostics, so we're really utilising far more advanced internal microcontrollers within our pack, so that if something goes faulty within the pack, it automatically provides an indication to the operators by displaying a specific colour pattern on the vest that pack needs to be looked at. The operator can then go into the actual boot loader part of the actual phaser itself to then determine what is wrong with it. It'll say, for instance, there's a faulty speaker or a faulty trigger or a faulty whatever. It'll give that indication automatically, and in the future we plan to actually provide the ability for that person to then get instructions on how to fix that particular fault. They can also access this information from our software. They can at any stage go to the software and provides an indication of any packs that may have some kind of fault, see what the fault is, and then go to that information to see how to fix it up. That's our portal software. That portal software is also available offline, so if we have operators who are remotely managing their site, then they can, at any stage they can just log in, see what the status is, and if necessary call the repair person up and say, these guns need to be looked at.
That's a little peek into what's new with your business within the industry, but I'd like to know, what was the state of the laser tag industry when it all began for Delta Strike?
It was a very different world. In those days, most systems, I believe probably all systems, were still what they call analog technology. Nowadays, it's all digital. Also, the circuitry within the phaser packs was traditionally through-hole mounting. This is on the printed circuit boards. Nowadays, it's surface mounts. There are still a number of products out there that are still through-hole technology, which has a lot of limitations in terms of just how much electronic components you can put in onto a board or within the phaser pack itself. The microcontrollers over the years have advanced considerably, which allows far more functionality to actually happen on the technology itself.
Now, what are your thoughts about the evolution of the laser tag industry?
I think there's going to be an ongoing, I don't think it's quite reached the level that cell phones, for instance, have reached, which is now minimal differences between them, and most cell phones now are trying to sell on one main feature, which is the camera, because most of the other features have been done already by all the major manufacturers. So laser tag still has some good room to grow in terms of distinguishing features, And that's been quite relevant this year. We feel that a lot of the features that we now are providing on our new Genesis product provide some great differentiation between ourselves and our competitors. And there's quite a few of those features which are just not available on the other products.
And on that note, would you like to talk about what distinguishes Delta Strike in the market and what does make it different from the other systems that came before and are out now?
Sure. One of the often unthought of features of a laser tag product is the ability for, number one, for the product to be quickly worked on if there is a fault. For instance, if somebody does need to work on it, many operators are employing very young students to operate the equipment, and they're expecting those students to also work on the equipment. So it's very important that we provide a system which is plug and play, number one, very easy to open up, and when you do open it up, it's very simple on the inside. So we provide very good videos on how to fix the equipment up, training at the beginning. We provide systems where all the components are labelled within the actual equipment, so if they unplug something, they know where to plug it back in again. So that's number one. It's got to be fast, and very easy to repair to somebody who is actually not a technician. The other thing is throughput. So throughput's incredibly important. It's all about money. How fast can you put a group of players through? If you've got 30 very noisy children in a birthday group, to control that group and put them through as quickly as possible is paramount. So the actual process at which you put that group of people through is quite different from one system to another, and we feel we've actually come up with a very efficient, repeatable system which allows the operator to make as much money on their busiest days as they can. I suppose there's one other thing, and that's the software itself. The software needs to operate in a way where it provides a lot of features, but at the same time it should almost be invisible during day-to-day operations. So we have integrated a remote control with our system where you don't actually even have to use the software. You are facing your group of 30 birthday party children using the remote control without having to sit in front of a computer. And we find that has worked incredibly well.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that Delta Strike as a company has faced?
It would have been right at the very beginning of developing our first product. That was the heart. That's number one. Would have been just getting through that very costly development process. The next would have been getting into America and building enough of a customer base to actually bring it out and have people trust in both the product and our company itself, our ongoing support. So those have been great challenges. The last challenge has actually been getting our latest product out to market in the time period we wanted to. We had hoped it would have been out there a year ago, but as with all development, it's always going to take longer than you expect. But in some ways it's been worthwhile. We didn't want to provide a product out there that was substandard, so it's the fine tuning which really takes the extra time.
And on the flip side of that, what has been your company's greatest highlight or achievement? And you can also talk about the recognition and award that you got here at IAPA, if you like.
Yes, yeah, we won the Brass Ring New Concept Award at IAPA this year, which was fantastic. We've also won a High Tech Award for our previous product in New Zealand, which is a very competitive award situation, so we did well there. But on a personal note, I suppose I feel the response we've got from our new product, the Genesis, this year has been fantastic. So on a personal level, we've worked on this product for 3.5-4 years, and as I mentioned to you before, coming out of that, you often lose sight. You think you're doing the right thing. We've done all our studies. We've talked to all the customers and the salespeople, the players. You get so involved in the project, working on it, and by the time you get to the end of it, you think, was it right? But the overwhelming positive responses we've had from operators coming through and looking at the new equipment, the Genesis, has been just amazing. So that's been very rewarding, and not just for me, but for the whole team, the development team behind it. It's been great.
How many locations are currently using Delta Strike equipment?
It's around 410, 420, somewhere around there.
And why do you think that laser tag continues to have such wide appeal?
I think it's the social aspect of it. I once went into a centre and talked to one of the operators there, and I just wanted to try and find out the same thing from their perspective as an operator. And I said, if you were to create some kind of new game and think it would be really, really popular, I asked him what he thought would be the most important thing for that game to have, and he says it's always got to be social. There's got to be interaction between people going in for that game, and that's what laser tag inherently has, particularly so with the younger groups. So it's very popular with birthday parties. I think the other thing about laser tag is, in the past it used to get a bit of a hard time because of its association. We call them phasers, but essentially you could say guns. And that was always my worry when I first bought my first laser tag centre. I thought to myself, am I encouraging something that's not quite right here? But having owned and operated a laser tag business, you get to recognise incredibly quickly that the players are going in there, they're having a wonderful time. There's no animosity, there's no unfriendliness. People go in, have a fantastic time, come out having enjoyed a great game. It's one of the most enjoyable industries I can think of in the entertainment industry.
Do you have any thoughts about the current state of the laser tag industry or where it's going in the future?
I think it's just going to keep on developing as it is. I'm sure that at some stage there's going to be the idea of perhaps integrating it with VR. In terms of the current game itself, in terms of recent developments, I think having things inside the arena which provide more interactivity and perhaps more features that you get from computer game style first-person shooter type games, I think that's going to continue. Probably more integration with the lighting throughout the arena. Yeah, I think it's going to keep on growing and improving and just becoming slicker than it ever has been.
Very nice. And do you have any other additional thoughts you'd like to share?
I know this may sound like I'm promoting our new products, which yes I am, but at the same time we've had a fantastic response to our new product and very pleased about that. It's a delight to know that all that effort is going to come out in a way that's very positive for us.
Very good. Well, I thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me. That's Doug Willems, CEO and founder of Delta Strike International. Thank you so much, Doug.
Thanks, Laurie.